Well, hello, everyone. The TLC Health Freedom Tribe. This is Dr. Ella Thorpe with Tustin Longevity Center, and it's Monday, the 25th of April, 2022, and we are here every Monday at 6 o'clock to 7, and we are a educational program sponsored by Tustin Longevity Center. Our goal is to try and make another venue for our patients, their families, and friends to ask general questions about their health, especially with the alternative functional medicine. But any standard medical question is fine too. We are a integrative practice, a functional medicine practice. We're standard trained allopathic physicians. Three of us. One is a naturopath, and the other is a physician assistant. So there's five of us here, and we are all working to try and promote preventative health and longevity and restorative health for those who have problems. And our goal here is not to give you a prescription over the video to our patients. We cannot practice over this type of medium. These will just be generalized responses. If you have a specific problem and you happen to be one of our patients, please do call the office or text the office at 714-544-1521 or give us a call in the morning. And of course, any urgent needs, you can go to urgent care or the ER. But we're trying to be another resource to help you try and sort through the many, many things you're hearing, especially for those of you who visit Dr. Google all the time. So there you have it. So I think we will begin, and maybe we should start with a joke. So what did the evil chicken lay? What did the nasty chicken lay? Deviled eggs. So that's a cute one. All righty. Well, now we got a joke done. Next thing we'll go to the first question is Vanessa. And she says, "Hi, Dr. Rita. I feel like I'm coming down with something. I have an itchy throat and feel exhausted. What supplements do you recommend I take?" Well, Vanessa, let's see. The season of the year, this is April, this is where there's a lot of blooming. We're starting to see the warm weather come in, and then the winds are turning up all the pollens, and then molds will start to be growing. So this could be allergies. Allergies are helped with, and all things are helped with a very low carb diet, whether you're sick with a viral illness or a bacteria, because sugar depresses the immune system. Drinking enough water, half your weight as ounces, and taken every day. A natural antihistamine that would be helpful for that itchy feeling in the throat and congestion is the dehist or quercetin type products, stinging nettles. We use dehist right here. It works very, very well. But if you take a product like that, you can't just take one or two. You have to take a loading dose of quercetin, such as 600, 800 milligrams for the first day, which would be about 4 capsules. Then the next day, take at least 3. I need 4 a day, though. I have such bad allergies. The other thing is to make sure your vitamin D level is at its optimal range. That means you have to see a doctor to get it measured. But in general, if you're an adult woman weighing 120 pounds roughly to 150, I think it's reasonable for you to take 10,000 vitamin D international units D3 with vitamin K2, 1 a day. But if you feel that you are getting ill, as in the achiness, we all know how we feel. There's a sudden sense of loss of energy. There's a low backache, achiness in our muscles. and then either the sore throat, congestion, or cough starts, then you could take D 50,000 units for 5 days, D3 50,000 units, one a day for 5 days, and then go to your 10,000 thereafter. That'll give a boost to your immune system. Another thing, of course, is vitamin C. We don't make any vitamin C, so no matter what the stress is in our life, whether you break your foot or you have allergies or you've gone through a terrible, stressful time at work or at home, vitamin C helps us deal with stress management and our immune system. And so I would take extra vitamin C. If you feel congested in your sinuses, the other thing would be a nasal spray. Argentine silver would be very, very good because Argentine silver is nanoparticulate, and it has been studied and is able to kill viruses, bacteria, and fungi. So that would be a good starter point. Then Vanessa goes on to say a second question. One last question. I took the Dutch hormone test, and it came back with high estrogen and testosterone levels. And so she asks, any specific supplements that can help lower these items? Well, I would say yes. There's, number one, lowering your blood sugar is always the right thing to do because sugar stimulates polycystic ovarian syndrome, insulin resistance that creates a failure to ovulate and produce progesterone to balance estradiol. So a low carb diet is the key for all Americans, all people with estrogen dominance. The other thing is you could take items such as, calcium D-glucurate and what else would that be? Maybe some diindol methane, vitamin B6, magnesium. So there's several things that help it, but natural progesterone is usually very helpful with a abundance of estradiol. But I would have you see your physician and talk about this. And if your testosterone is elevated, usually that's associated with high carbohydrate hyperinsulinemia and polycystic ovarian syndrome that is associated with estrogen dominance and hirsutism. And you have to have your doctor see you, find out if you're taking other supplements that might promote that. So talk with your doctor about that. But calcium D-glucurate, diindol methane, magnesium, vitamin B6, these are all very helpful, but nothing is probably more beneficial than a low-carb diet, not eating late, exercise, and using natural progesterone to balance it. William Lee says, is bone broth a good supplement for a diet? Is it good for increased energy, bone strength, and or suppressing your cravings? Are there substitutes that you can provide? Well, is it a good supplement for your diet? I think, there's no need for bone broth as a supplement for anyone's diet. People take bone broth, especially if they're trying to build up their health, restore their health, or if they're on a fast and they want to stop eating solid foods. Bone broth has the protein and the fats in it. So it really isn't a item that you take during a fast, but fast doesn't only mean just no food or calories. Fasting can be learning to not keep your typical eating patterns. And some people have to take bone broth, which does provide some calories, healthy proteins, healthy fats, and it's very satiating. It helps suppress your hunger because of the protein and the fat. This helps people create longer windows, you might say, between their habits of eating other foods that they shouldn't be eating. Another thing they do is, another way to do that would be with bulletproof coffee, where you take a tablespoon of butter and you put it in hot coffee. You could add medium chain triglycerides. You could add collagen to it. Once again, that's a few hundred calories in the fat in that item. So you're not fasting per se, but you're breaking your eating pattern, and so that could be helpful. A lot of people encourage bone broth because there's good minerals in it, and these minerals are very helpful for people who have a need to heal from stomach and they can't tolerate solid foods for a while. But a lot of people are using this largely as a methodology to learn to break their eating patterns and not suffer such hunger as they learn to break away from such a high carbohydrate diet. So try the bulletproof coffee. And yes, it will suppress your cravings. Yes, it will help with energy if you take it in between meals and you want to stay away from a high carb item. Bone broth would be another source for that, William. So yes, it could help. Jennifer says, hi, Dr. Rita. Are electrolyte drink powders like Ultima safe? Does one need to worry about taking too many electrolytes? Well, electrolytes are salts, and yes, just like you can overdo table salt shaking it, you can overdo electrolytes. What this is to make sure that if you're on a fast, again, and you're just on a pure water fast, you might want to add electrolytes to it so you don't get leg cramps, muscle aches, to help you tolerate your exercise better. It facilitates water retention in the body. If you're sweating a lot, a profuse sweater and and you are in hot yoga or in hot wet saunas a lot, then maybe adding electrolytes to one of your glasses of water, a 16-ounce glass of water. But yes, you can overdo this. So I probably wouldn't exceed 2 packets a day of any general product. I don't know what Ultima is in and of itself. I would have to take the time, I won't do it now, to look it up. But yes, you can overtake it and have too many salts and fluid retention. 80 Herrera says, hello, my husband has bilateral Meniere's disease and really struggles. Do you have any experience with this? Well, yes, Meniere's is with the balance, vertigo, room spinning. It is a name given for a set of symptoms that involve this imbalance, the sense of dizziness, the sense of some have ringing ears, some feel that the room is spinning. And treatment, there's no real good treatment designed for this. They give you antihistamines in case you have seasonal congestion that will block your eustachian tube, your sinus pressure. So we are in favor of using a very low carb diet or introducing fasting periods of time, even a 24-hour or 48-hour fast, and doing that. The other thing is taking enzymes, systemic enzymes like Vitalzyme or Proteozyme or Vascuzyme, doing EDTA chelation therapy, which helps the microcirculation to help disinflame whatever is making the loops of Helene and the inside of those tubes and the otolith, the little molecules or little balls, you might say, that roll in the fluid of these loops of Helene. Going very low carb, trying to avoid food allergies. What else could be done? Well, that's a good beginner. So yes, we have helped quite a few people with chronic Meniere's and vertigo, recurrent vertigo symptoms. But he would have to be seen, his age, what other comorbidities. How high is his blood sugar? How high is his fasting insulin? How high are his triglycerides? We would have to get those very nice and low. So hopefully that's a starter idea for you, 80. Okay. Jennifer goes on to ask, do you recommend collagen for skin or something else? A friend taking collagen says you have to take L-thiamine with it or it's not good to take. What's your take? Well, thiamine is one of your B vitamins and vitamin B2. And so L just means it's levorotary, and because the body likes stereotypical certain patterns to use, even though the mirror image would be dextrorotary, it can only use the levorotary very often in physiology. But I think that's a stretch. I think everyone's trying to corner the market on collagen. It is something we've learned, easy habits like scooping out something and putting it in a drink, when we should be eating meat, fish, turkey, chicken, beef, pork, shrimp, crab, lobster. We should be eating these eggs, and the proteins that are in these things should be enough for us to make collagen. It's not like we can't make collagen. We do make it all the time. But what our problem is we are not eating enough protein in general. And there's all this marketing going on saying, don't eat animal products, and eating meat causes cancer. And then you have to ask specific question, what kind of a meat? Well, they'll say red meat. And then you'll say, well, the red meat from where? Well, any red meat. Well, that's not true. USDA grade, industrialized meat packing industry feeds the poor cow all these grains and antibiotics and hormones, and creates these inflammatory and fattened up cows that are not good to eat. And you're getting these antibiotics, and you're getting the lectins from the grains they're eating, and you're getting the hormones. So I would say that meat would be suspect, but not from the prairie raised. So you would have to ask that question with specificity. And that's why the China study, I think is bogus, because it lumps these things in. And as scientists, we have to be much more detailed in our approach about just what are you claiming or not claiming is dangerous. And so do we need thiamine? Yes, we do. Is it involved in countless biochemical reactions? Yes, it is. Is one of those collagen formation? Yes, it is. But if you take a good B vitamin and you take meat, fish, chicken, all wild prairie caught, and use digestive enzyme, especially if you're a blood type A or if you're over 50, yeah, I think you can get away without not using collagen. We are all aging. With aging, we lose about half a percent of our muscle mass per year, probably starting from age 40. By the age of 55, 60, you're starting to lose 1% of your muscle mass. So exercise is probably just as important. Intermittent fasting will stimulate human growth hormone, eating one meal a day for a season, fasting 2-3 days in a row, intermittently, maybe every quarter, take a 3-day fast. I do a 5-day fast twice a year to ramp up my human growth hormone. All these things help lay down collagen and elastin. Hormones help you lay down collagen and elastin. The estradiol is well known for that. Testosterone. We lose DHEA with aging. The pre-hormone dihydroepiandrosterone helps your immune systems, helps your adrenal glands, helps your testosterone formation and muscle formation. So it would be much smarter to spend a little money on DHEA, even if you have a history of prostate cancer or breast cancer, it's quite safe. And that would be very, very important to do. Do we need to buy supplemental collagen? I think you have to be very careful about how big the molecule is. You have to find out if there are peer-reviewed clinical studies on it, because the size of the molecule, and there's several different types of collagen, the size, the Dalton number, has to be a certain number, I think around 7 or 8 Daltons. Otherwise, you're not going to even absorb it through your gut. And is your gut itself healthy? So there are so many things that you need to be thinking about. It isn't just a item on the internet and a conversation with a friend. You have to know that God's smart, and He indeed has helped in your system to figure out what you need. But you've got to eat it yourself, and you have to stop junking it up with all this processed food and high fructose corn syrup and carbohydrates. All right, let's see what's next. Sarah, hi Sarah, says hello. Aside from seeing their practitioner, how would you advise someone with sudden bowel blockage, mass in the intestines, and diagnosed with celiac, additional supports diet? Well, what this means is if they were diagnosed with the bowel blockage in the intestine and celiac disease, that means the corruption of the food system has irritated the person, inflamed the lining of the bowel. Remember, it's only one cell membrane thick. That chronic inflammation created inflammatory molecules, and those inflammatory molecules create a cascade of inflammation. And every time you consistently, and people are eating pizzas and cupcakes and bread with their sandwiches and pasta and macaroni and cheese, and they're eating muffins and breads and oatmeal and cereals and crackers and all kinds of things like this that are full of the very high likelihood food allergens that generate celiac disease. I would find out the person's blood type. This is very noteworthy in the blood type A person, but O's are the second most affected. They would probably have to go on a clear liquid diet. Something here would be an example where beef broth would be a valuable thing, because it doesn't have any plant food in it, and you'd be getting the minerals and the fat and the proteins of the bone marrow. So beef broth, bone meal, and eating carnivore would be the way to heal from that. We use those supplements because we're published in this. We have the SBI Protect powder and the NT powder of the phospholipids, and these are two of the core elements. And then we give the oil that is in the cell membrane. So these are the three basic components that make up all the cell wall and material. The oil can be a liquid too, so you could take this as a liquid. But anyway, I'm bringing that up because doctors are not taught this. So what they'll do with you in standard medicine is they'll put you on, they'll do surgery if it's a bad blockage, and then they'll put you on steroids, and they'll put you on anti-inflammatories, suppositories or oral tablets, mesalamine, and Azicol, these various drugs. But remember, some food allergen in the lousy American cheap diet was creating an injury in the wall of the lining of the gut. and it just got over and over and bigger and bigger. And then one part of the gut sticks to another part, and then you get these blockages. And that double layer, these are the phospholipids, the balls are the protein receptors, and the very special fats are the essential fats that are all destroyed in processed junk food, cheap eating. So that's how I would begin to address that. This person should be seen by their gastroenterologist to see how bad things are, but they have to have a good functional medicine doctor that's aware of all these natural ways. Otherwise, you'll stay a cripple on drug therapy and have recurrences. Someone with celiac is just going to have to understand they cannot play around with food and junk food. So there you have it. But they need to find a good functional doctor. Hopefully that helps you. Lynn says, hello, Dr. Rita. I have seen advertisements lately about an eye drops that assist in helping with sight for close up. All right, so when you're the lens of your eyes and the actual shape of your eyeball in the socket, there are different shapes, and the thickness of your cornea are all going to determine when that light comes through on the prism of your lens, how to bring something into focus. And to do that, to make the magnification better, and you have to make the lens thicker. And when it's more distant vision, you make the lens thinner. So God put little ciliary muscles in each eye to help that lens bunch up or thin up, or bunch up or thin up, to lengthen the distance of the light passing through it. So anything that helps stop oxidative damage, which is burning, which is oxidation, which is happening to all of us with aging, will help your vision. Now, if you have the structural parts of your eye that you cannot, that's what is LASIK. Sometimes they can do a certain treatment, shaving off some of your cornea and to help you with some of your vision. That's why we need glasses with aging, because your ciliary muscles become weak, so that older people, those muscles have atrophied, so we don't have that ability to find focus that we did when we were children, teenagers, and in our 20s and 30s. So we give ourselves an additional lens to help with it. Usually it's a bifocal lens, so there's one for long distance, and the bottom part of the glass is usually for the close focus. But what would eye drops, what are they going to market? They're going to market something that has antioxidant potential in them for the eyes. So let me say this. I'm not against having antioxidants for your eye. But, we know that Juice Plus is probably the most researched nutraceutical, and we know that it has more than 30 different fruits, vegetables, and berries in it, with a plethora of all manner of plant antioxidants. It has been studied at university after university worldwide. It has had DNA studies to slow DNA damage. More than 1,600 DNA genes have been turned on or off in studies so far. I mean, it's so phenomenal what it does. I would take Juice Plus, but even before Juice Plus, here's your number one antioxidant, water, because if we're all slowly burning up and oxidizing, we are all 98.6 roasts. We're burning up, every one of us, slowly. You got to learn to drink enough water every day. Half your weight in water every day. One of the things I take is I use Argentine silver. Argentine silver is nanoparticulate silver. Silver is known for thousands of years as a natural antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal. And I will often put a drop in each of my eyes at nighttime before I go to bed to lubricate, to help get it into my tear ducts so that bacteria, viruses, and stuff like that don't build up, and I have chronic inflammation from that. I take my Juice Plus. I drink my water. I only eat one meal a day. I fast, 22 hours, 23 hours every single day. Exercise, get enough sleep, never eat late. I take systemic enzymes, and I do EDTA chelation therapy. EDTA chelation therapy helps the retina, the whole eye, but in particular, it really helps with the tiny capillary blood flow to your eye. I've had many patients with glaucoma, macular degeneration, just not progress or get worse or require surgery if they chelate. So that's my clinical experience. And when I say chelate, I don't say doing, 3 or 4 a year. I say doing a series if they have really high eye pressures or they have serious macular degeneration. We use 1 or 2 to 3 chelations per week until they get through 30, and then we reassess. So we're talking about this seriously, which brings up another article. This is from April 19th, and it's in the Townsend letter. It's called Chelation Therapy in Cardiovascular Disease, an update from Science. Dr. Joel Kahn, Kahn, medical doctor, fellow of the American College of Cardiology. And in this, he just summarizes, the heavy metal oxidative aging, cell membrane, endothelial lining of all your blood vessels, and the tremendous amount of research that is being suppressed that you are not being told about. And he's angry as a cardiologist. He didn't learn about this. Of course, if you go on tlcdoctors.com and you look at rationale for the use of EDTA chelation in my patients with multiple chronic diseases, and that would include that Meniere's question, you'll see all the references. Then another doctor wrote a tremendous article about the damage of all the gadolinium, the neurotoxicity of all these too many scans, MRIs with gadolinium. And then 2 days ago, I just started seeing a stream of data coming out on this. It's as if the dam is breaking, that doctors are finally learning about EDTA chelation. And one of the things we give our patients are these papers. And at the top there on YouTube, you'll see TACT Update 2019, Dr. Gervasio Lamas. And if you put YouTube TACT Update 2019, Dr. Lamas, you'll see the head of cardiology at Cedars-Sinai Hospital on the East Coast. And this cardiologist is saying there is nothing that comes close to what EDTA can do for helping cardiovascular disease event prevention. And that's just the facts. And he did his studies with 40 chelations. Let's see. There's going to be a new product coming out. Do I have it? I don't have one of the jars. Anyway, it's going to be put out by Orthomolecular, and it's called BioPC Pro. And these are phospholipids and some other special things that help repair the cell membrane. And, Orthomolecular and I go way back, and I have been helping them develop products. And we're pleased. Some of the science that we have worked with here on my publications, and they're referring to some of, using my name and some of my research that I've published. So they recognize that we here at Trust and Longevity Center, we're not just medical doctors. We're scientists, we're published researchers and lecturers trying to move forward and help restore the health and promote health in our patient base. So how did I get into all that? That was from the lady with the eye drop, Lynn. So there was a long answer. Sarah goes on to ask, how do you feel about consuming beef liver in the form of a capsule? I think it's fine. Yeah. Of course, you have to have a reputable source. I would make sure it's a grass-fed, prairie-raised calf, beef that you're getting the beef capsules from. Absolutely, it's just fine. There's no problem with that. Sarah goes on, hi, Addie, so happy you're here. All right, I guess Addie must know Sarah. There you go. Okay, praise the Lord. This is a family. All right, and then let's see. Stephanie says, how do you increase your HDL? I try to avoid seed oils, only use olive oil and butter. Look at it, it's a low carb diet, Stephanie. It's a low carb diet. We in America, just because it's everywhere. It's everywhere in the marketing. It's at church. There's too many foolish carbs made available at church. It should be a special thing, not just a continuous feasting on these junk foods. And certainly for growing children, they shouldn't have access to this. The HDL is going to be not produced when the liver is overly tasked with processing too many sugar, carbohydrates, glucose molecules from the digestion of the starch into glucose and the sugar into fructose and glucose. And when the liver has to process all that, it will then start making more and more LDL and triglycerides, and the HDL production will go down. Exercise is another important way to raise your HDL. Not eating late and fasting stimulates HDL. Of course, seed oils are a horrible invention, especially for cooking. Now, if you want to use avocado oil or oil from the olive on your cold salad, fine, but don't cook with it, all right? And don't use it in processed foods. But it's a low carb diet that will help you with your HDL, exercise, fasting, and there you have it. Now, wonderful YouTube video to watch, and that's on my list here. I should have left it out. Any one of these videos are fantastic, but the third one down is Sugar the Bitter Truth by Robert Lustig. Sugar the Bitter Truth by Robert Lustig. You've got to listen to this and understand giving your children apple juice and orange juice and crackers and goldfish snacky poos and all this foolishness of constant eating, this carbohydrate is turning them into becoming like handing them a beer. It's like giving a beer to a child, because fructose is only metabolized in the liver, and things that are only metabolized in your liver exclusively 99% of the time are toxins. And so guess what, folks? Fructose is really a stress, a toxin, especially this high fructose corn syrup. And it's just like giving them a beer. All right. Constance says, what are the best websites for natural wellness advice? Will you ever do one or write a book? God bless you in America. Thank you, Constance. I am not God. I don't have all the answers, but I have 41 years, and my father was in food research. I'm 68, 69, going on 69. So I will have to say, ever since I was 4 years old, I've been around the food at Armor Food Research and listened to science and majored in chemistry, biochemistry, and was a chemist first. And then you have to understand food is marketed. And the marketing of food means there's going to be advertisement and there's going to be bias to make sales, like collagen, anything. And so there's as much corruption in the alternative world as there is in the international crime syndicate called the pharmaceutical healthcare, which is not healthcare at all. So what are good channels? I would say I like, what is his name? What is his name? See if I can pull it up. High Intensity Health. That's one. High Intensity Health. And another one would be pretty much anything by Dr. Fung, Jason Fung, Fung. He's a nephrologist out of Toronto, Canada, who promotes the ketogenic diet for controlling diabetes. So look up on YouTube, Jason Fung, medical doctor, on eating and fasting. Look up High Intensity Health. So that's a scientist. Then you could look up, what is his name? Dr. Ekberg, I think is his name. Dr. Ekberg. He's a naturopath who was a prior decathlete. I'm looking here and seeing if I can call it up real quick. Well, I don't see it, but I think it's Dr. Ekberg, Ekberg. He's from Finland or something, but I think he's resides here in the United States. I think he does a good job. Dr. Berg is a chiropractor. I think he does a good job. And there's a book out there called Carbohydrate Cures, Cure, by Judy Chow, CHO. She does an excellent job. You can't find it on the internet because they've ridiculously censored the word cure. And so you can't find her book listed. You have to go to Barnes & Noble and say, would you look up Judy Cho, CHO, who wrote the book Carnivore Cure. She did an excellent job about the many methodologies from that little situation that Sarah brought up with the bowel and Crohn's disease, celiac disease. A carnivore diet is the cure for that. All right, so let's see, what else do we have? All right, Debbie asks, Dr. Rita, a co-worker's 50-ish wife has bad migraines. They disappeared during her pregnancy, and they are more severe the week before and after her period. How can she treat these? I would use enzymes. I would use oral magnesium glycinate as much as she can tolerate without getting loose stools, and I would fast. I would use, I would not eat past 5 o'clock, and I would only eat from noon till 5, and a very low carb diet. The carnivore diet would be excellent, very satiating. Natural progesterone would be very helpful. Topical cream, that would be very helpful. Debbie, the S goes on. Hi, Dr. Rita. I am doing everything you said, so I do not get future brown spots on my face. But is there any inexpensive method to get rid of the ones I have? Salicylic acid, thanks. I know dermatologists have topical anti-melanocyte medicines that you can get. I don't recall the name of them because I don't use them. But yes, they do exist. Dermatologists use that. Sometimes women who get pregnant, they get cloasma, which is that line up the middle of their belly from the pregnancy, and they'll get these patches also on their face. And so they've used these topicals as well. So I would see a dermatologist. I just can't think of it offhand, Debbie. Sorry about that. Um, See Leah. Hello, Dr. Rita. I am getting over a bad stomach virus. Still have diarrhea, not a large appetite, pain in bowel area like my sides, pain in the kidney areas once in a while. Anything to take to help my body? Your body knows how to heal itself, and I would say fasting. A stomach virus means the lining of your gut was injured. And I would just drink ginger ale mixed with water. Real ginger ale has sugar in it, glucose. And so I would use that with mixed with water so the bubble fizz gets out of it. And I would have chicken broth and beef broth, and not the bone meal, just the pure salt water from the chicken broth flavor or the beef broth flavor. And you can have them nice and warmed up and sip on those. And you can do that for a day or two, and that should really calm your stomach down. I think the first meal that I would take would be something like applesauce and bananas, and see how you tolerate that. But ultimately, health is in looking at your blood type, doing a complete digestive stool analysis, finding out how your digestion is, and using, things like these products that I showed you before. I keep them out on my desk because everyone's being hurt by the food, this processed food. So I have it right up there for them to see. Um, let's see. I'm getting over. Okay, Celia. My toddler has a bad diaper rash from diarrhea, open wounds. What could I do? I've been doing Riley's butt cream, Vaseline, baking soda baths. Well, I would say Desitin is a silver oxide. Silver is the probably what you need to treat because it kills bacteria, fungus, and viruses. And I would give the baby also a diet of electrolyte liquid for a day or two. They're not going to starve or die if you don't give them solid foods or milk. Just let their tummy heal, and their buttocks. If you go to the health food store, most of them have an item called Sovereign Silver. This is a spray. Some of it is a topical gel, like clear absolute gel. And I would put that on the baby's butt instead of all these other things. The only exception would be Desitin, which is the kind of silver oxide that is, but it'll stain the clothes, but you don't care too much about the diaper staining from the silver and silver nitrate. I was saying silver oxide, silver nitrate is what I meant to say. That's what I would do. And let's see. But of course, if the baby's not better, the butt needs to heal. So don't overwash it. The baby needs to make the fats and seal everything up. So you want to try and keep them as dry as possible and clean, but don't overwash them. So a day on, electrolyte fluids, Pedialyte, resting their gut should help them because they heal real quickly. But if not better in a day or two, let your pediatrician see them or your doctor. Laura says, once your patient but left California and found an integrative doctor in Oklahoma recommending Cell Core. Have you heard of this? Can you tell? No, I haven't heard about Cellcore. Let me see what this is. Cellcore. You said Cellcore. Okay, here's Cellcore website. Let's go to that. Cellcore. What is Cellcore? Contact us. Biosciences. All right, so tell me about. The industry leader in they make all kinds of multivitamins and stuff, it looks like. Oh, a chiropractor has developed this by the name of Dr. Nick Carruthers. Featured products would be Advanced TUDCA, whatever that means, biotoxin binder, CT minerals. I'm not familiar with Cellcore, and I don't see in this kind of a setup right here what's in it. I think we are fearfully and wonderfully made. I think we all overeat too much, or that certainly is something that has been a problem in my life that I have now under control through intermittent fasting and prolonged fasting episodes. And now I'm on a 1 meal a day. Lack of exercise, we need that exercise. Lack of drinking enough water. But a very good multi-mineral, because the mineral contents of food, if you look up Netter's food encyclopedia, and you look up science from the 1950s, 1960s, when they were looking at the mineral and the fatty acid and the protein amino acid contents of foods, and you look at them now, there is a huge drop in the nutrient density of our foods. I think it's upon us to understand they have the geostratospheric engineering blocking the ultraviolet lights that would hit our skin. They frightened us away from eating fat and eggs and beef. They've pumped all these sugars, so we're structurally not made as well as we were. So I would eat well, grass-fed, wild-caught, prairie-raised fish, chicken, beef, pork. I would eat in a time-restricted zone. I drink half my weight as water. I would take a very good multi-mineral and make sure that the mineral provider is from the company Albion, Albion, Albion. They chelate the amino acids, which help you absorb them much better. So it isn't just the number on the bottle of how many milligrams, it's whether or not it's amino acid chelated for very good absorption. And then I think Juice Plus, the best antioxidant I have ever seen in research throughout the world. And then I would probably say vitamin D, I would say iodine, and I would say digestive enzymes for anyone over the age of 50 with your dinners. If you're blood type A, to take it with all your meals, always from childhood on. And I would say if you're over or 50 or you're injured, systemic enzymes on an empty stomach. And that core right there is probably the core of health, okay? And everything else that's marketed is probably unnecessary if you eat a healthy lifestyle, get a good night's sleep, good hygiene of sleeping, shut off your electromagnetic energy phones, maybe turn the breaker off on your house, and then do these things. And then we don't need all these exotic detoxing things. Now, we have to deal with the fact that we're living in a toxic world. And I just came up with these documents just recently because all these doctors are commenting about how chelation is reducing all-cause mortality of death, which I've been saying for 40 plus years in my practice. But here's 296 documents. This was in a Scopus preview, SCOPUS by Elsevier. They do these pre-publications. So I just have the titles of all these. There's 296. I just have the first 20 here. And it's interesting, you know, like just looking at this one article from even back in the 1990s, which justified why they got lead out of the gas. This talks about mechanisms to lead neurotoxicity. So I've known about this all my life. Lead neurotoxicity in the children. And I want to show you some of the graphs. This will say if you were born between 1940 and 1980 roughly, you have inhaled, ingested, drank enough lead that you are carrying a burden that you would have probably had a high toxic level at a child had they been doing that test. And so high adult, IQ loss due to lead accumulation. And one of the things they talk about in this March 8th of 22 article is they're talking about, Flint, Michigan, but all the elevations of lead, not that children born after 1980 don't have a risk, they do, but we have just so much research on the damage of it, the aging group of people who have lead toxicity, neurodegenerative diseases. I'll post these articles along with the ones that are here under the thing so that maybe tomorrow afternoon you can look them up. Lead is horrible, but there's aluminum, there's, and these are in the vaccines. There's mercury, there's cadmium, there's gadolinium, and all these stupid dyes in the imaging studies. So we are challenged as a nation and a people, but the good Lord has given us EDTA chelation ever since the emergence of lead in the gas. God always has a way to help us and detox. So there you have it. Okay, Megan says, what would your recommendations be to address Sjogren's syndrome? EDTA chelation, hands down, 100%, along with gut healing, with items like we talked about. Have someone find out your blood type, depending on your age, getting you on hormones, using systemic enzymes, eating in a narrow window of time, and then getting those toxins out and inflammation out. I've always seen it help my patients and really stop the progress of the disease. Karina says, hi, Dr. Rita, is keto or carnivore way of eating a good diet for people who have high cholesterol and high, absolutely, high cholesterol, high triglycerides. It's the triglycerides, everyone. It's not the cholesterol. The cholesterol will only go up by you eating a high carb diet. You eat a high carb diet, you'll choke your little capillaries. You'll make your brain hurt after eating. You'll get overweight. You'll get insulin insensitive and resistance. You'll gain the weight, and your cholesterol will go up because these cells are being injured, and your body's trying to heal those cell membranes. And so it produces more cholesterol to repair the cell membranes where it's supposed to be. And it's foolishness. These doctors are fools for chasing after cholesterol in the general population. Absolute foolishness. Carol says, what do you think ringing in one's ears is from? I've read it's from the brain. Do you know if that's true? Well, I think this is aging, and it is the loops of Helene, and it's the tiny capillaries, and it's like a siren of progressing cell aging. And so chelation will help reduce it. All these things will help reduce it. The very things I'm telling you on the low carb, avoiding the processed foods, drinking your water, taking your enzymes, doing EDTA chelation, all that will help it. Yes. Hi, Dr. Rita. Do you recommend testosterone cream for a 35-year-old man? If so, which one? Well, I make my own testosterone here. We do compounding, and it depends on many factors for a 35-year-old. Exercise will bring up your testosterone. Doing intermittent fasting will bring up your testosterone. A low-carb diet will bring up your testosterone, and conversely, eating a more carnivore diet will bring up your testosterone. And getting a good night's sleep will bring up your testosterone. Getting rid of those processed foods will bring up your testosterone. So we would want to look at all those things going on. Oxidative stress can be measured in you. You could get your heavy metals measured, and then we could see if you really need it. You have to remember, men have a biannual level of the testosterone, where women have monthly cycles of our hormones. Men have a biannual. That's why men are much more steady, and then the type of hormone testosterone is very different from estradiol. So it depends on the time of the year you're testing your testosterone. So if it's a late fall, summer, late fall reading, that would be the high peak for a man. If it's a spring, January, February, March, April, May, it should be on the lower ends because it's low in the spring, high in the fall, and late summer. So we would need to look at all those things to get some answers about testosterone. Karina says, my husband has trigeminal neuralgia. Is there a cure for that? Well, what creates the irritation? Did he get the gene therapy from Pfizer and Moderna, or other recent injectables? Did he have trauma to the joint? Is he a diabetic? There's many things there, but the answer, Karina, is yes, there is help for trigeminal neuralgia. So you'd have to see a functional doctor with experience. Amela says, hi, Dr. E. I started my KINs on iodine. Is it okay if taken with breakfast, or should we take it on an empty stomach? No, take it with breakfast. That's fine. It doesn't matter. Celia says, where did it go? I lost it. Any idea why my toenails would turn a dark yellowish, that a few weeks later the ankles were a little discolored in spots? The nails are clearing up after 3 weeks, followed by a yeast infection. This is probably fungus. So go on a low carb diet, do some fasting, and take showers or with Selsun Blue shampoo, and that will help it. Garden Fairy says, I'm 55, menopausal, started Climera 0.025 and Provera, switched to progesterone, went to the patch 0.05, but they fall off. Had bad uterine cramping Saturday and a normal period last night. Well, if you have a uterus and you're using hormones, it's got to be managed by a doctor who is going to check the levels, follow your symptoms. And yes, if you have a uterus and you use hormones, you can have a period. I have a period and I'm almost 70 and I have it every month. It's very light, but so having a period if you're on hormones is not necessarily a bad thing. Cramping should be reduced with a good multi-mineral and using enough progesterone, low carb diet, and enzymes. So Garden Fairy, see your doctor. I'm going to try, since we're after 7, as quickly as I can. Last week I went back to the patch, still spotting. You'll see the doctor in July. Would like to avoid cramps and heavy bleeding. Well, yes, we all. I don't want you to have that. So call her, and this is something that needs to be addressed at the office here, Garden Fairy. Okay. Cindy Love says, "What's the best oil to fry foods in?" Lard. Lard. All right. Not peanut oil. No. Harlow Spencer. Hi, Dr. Rita. Love you so much. Thank you for all you do. God bless you, Harlow. Thank you, too. I saw Rod of Iron interview. What can a man take to raise male hormones? Do you sell any products? Well, having a good lifestyle, so a good time to go to bed and getting up, having that nighttime sleep when you heal. So when you heal at night, you should try and aim to go to bed about 9:30, and get up 5:30. Exercise, having a weight resistance and some aerobic, some routine on a regular basis, a very low carb diet, time restricted eating, or the intermittent fasting, we call it, prolonged fasting, 2, 3, 4 days to stimulate growth hormone. Check your testosterone with your doctor. And remember, just like I said before, the time of the year for a man. So the spring should be his low levels. The fall and late summer are the highest levels for the male testosterone production. Try and eat a healthy protein-rich diet, grass-fed. Stay away from processed foods and all these soy products. So that's what I would. That's the beginner point I would say there. Stephanie says thank you. Okay, God bless you. Harlow says, "You are not God, but you are pretty awesome." I'm a big fan. Well, Harlow, God bless you. You know, we're all His creation, and I sit here in awe, seeing my patients. I often say how beautiful your eyes are to many people. And I don't say it to the men I see because that would seem weird, a woman saying that to a man. But I am just so taken back by God's creation, and I see everyone as special. All right. What do you think of Dr. Zach Bush? Thank you. I don't know Dr. Zach Bush. Let me just take a quickie peeky here and see if I can call Dr. Zach Bush up and get that answer for you. Here we go. Dr. Zach, Z-A-K-B-U-S-H. All right, let's see if I can find him. Dr. Z-A-C-K-B-U-S. You know, when you do things in a rush, it never works. Z-A-C-K-B-U-S-H. Let me see if I can see this. Zach Bush, MD. I have not seen his work. Okay, so but if I look at some of the descriptions, GMOs, engineering nature out of humanity. I like that title. Chemical farming. Yeah, so it sounds good. So I don't know, unfortunately, the doctor, but at least what I see there does look very intriguing and good. All right, and then Amila, are ammonium, alum, and potassium alum bad ingredients in deodorant? Absolutely, don't use them. Harlow, I have high levels of lead, and I have been recently doing rounds of chelation. I hope I will see my levels reduce. Where can I read this article on lead? Well, I'm going to publish these, Harlow. Tomorrow I'll have Blake here at the office put these things up, plus all these articles with the graphs on it. There seems to be 6 of these things. And we'll do that there. So wait till late tomorrow or Wednesday. It should be up. Um, so taking cholesterol meds like atrovastin should be avoided to lower cholesterol. For the vast majority, my answer is yes. What we need is doctors who help their patients to be inspired to control their lifestyle and lower their carbs. Cindy, any tips for healthy pregnancy? Um, I have all my patients on Juice Plus who are pregnant. Their placentas of the children that I've delivered, and I've delivered hundreds of them, but nothing in a long time. The color, if it's pink, when at birth, you can see that there was very good oxygenation in the mother. If the mother was a smoker or had bad dietary habits, you would see the placenta come out and it'd be dark, in very dark maroon color. We know now that the placentas of women on Juice Plus are just astronomically coveted for research, for stem cell of the cord blood. It is probably the most wonderful supportive antioxidant so that the baby has the least amount of stress. So I put my children, my women on Juice Plus. I put them on vitamin D, at least 5,000 with K2. I put them on 12.5 milligram iodine to develop superior intelligence and support for the mother's thyroid. And I give them a multi-mineral vitamin instead of these prenatal silly things. I tell them to eat their meat, eat their iron, get their iron in with their meat and so forth. That's what I would say. Karina says, how about severe eczema in toddlers? That's a fatty acid deficiency and food allergy. They need this clinician oil. And so the liquid up here in the bottle for a baby with cradle cap, like a half teaspoon once a day, would be wonderful. That's a fatty acid deficiency. And if they're crusting on the cheeks and everything, you find out his blood type. And thank you so much, Dr. Rita. God bless Harlan. Thank you. God bless you, sister. All right. Praise the Lord. So this was a long one, and God bless to all of you. Take care. I'll see you next Monday. All right. Bye-bye. Please like and subscribe and share.